What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We have the Elevate Dominate Mastermind today with Chris Hart, who is a monster in the real estate industry, a scripts expert, just really good at getting the agents going. And I honestly, Chris, I don't know too much about you before you came into my world. So I'd love to hear what brought you into real estate, man. How'd you get started?
Yeah, so I got into real estate in 2005. I was actually just transitioning out of a 8-year Army career. Army offered to pay for me to go to school. So I thought I'd get a real estate license, and I thought I was going to stay around Fayetteville, North Carolina. Decided to, move from North Carolina to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and try my hand at doing something I've never done before, which is sell anything in a market where I only knew 4 people. So got out of the Army, August 2005, moved to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and decided to start a whole new career in sales, and didn't know anyone, didn't know what to do, and just jumped right in.
And when you first started, you were a prospecting based agent, right? That's how you were. I feel like I remember you saying something along the lines of that.
Yeah, I mean,
Ireds or FSBOs, or
if you want to call it that, I was a figuring it out agent. At the time I joined what was a brand, or what is a brand name franchise. Their main color is blue, and they boasted that they were the largest in the area because they had the most amount of offices, the most amount of agents. And when I got there, man, it was, you went through this 1-week training, but it really wasn't training. They didn't train you on how to be an actual real estate agent. And when I met with the sales manager, she said, well, your license came in, you're good to go. I said, well, what do I do now? And she said, well, you go sell real estate. And she said, well, I hope you have 6 months worth of savings saved up. I said, why? She said, well, the average agent doesn't sell anything for the first 6 months. I said, well, we got 2 problems. I don't have 6 months worth of savings, and I'm not average. So I just kind of looked at her and shrugged my shoulder, and she just pushed a sleeve of business cards across the table. And she said, well, here's 1,000 business cards and a name tape. Good luck. So I just looked at those 1,000 business cards as nobody knows me. Nobody knows what I do. So these are opportunities for me to go introduce myself, have a conversation of some sort, and try and get as many people to know me and know what I do. There was no direction. I walked my neighborhood. The funny part about it, Brett, is I tell people it's August in South Carolina, right? So I grew up in Bergen County. I know what August is like in northern New Jersey. August in South Carolina is hotter. Yeah. And I'm walking around with a button-down shirt, slacks, dress shoes, and walking around my neighborhood. I didn't even know enough to knock on doors. Like, if you walked out of your house, I went and talked to you. It was it. If you were taking groceries out of your car, if you were walking your dog, and everybody in my neighborhood thought I was Mormon. They were like, who is this guy? And then they literally told me, one of my neighbors told me one day that the neighbors on my block used to look out the window and see if I was walking around just so they can go to their car. So if you want to call that prospecting, I don't necessarily call that prospecting because, I guess in the sense of what prospecting is, yeah, but I had no direction. I had no script. I just had 1,000 business cards and an intention to go talk to as many people as possible.
I think what's awesome about that, though, is you were given nothing, which is what agents are used to, I feel like, because I have a similar story, unfortunately, of how I started. And I think that's kind of why you and I are both have that purpose of helping agents, now ingrained in us, because we know it would be a better experience. But you took action. You were doing something. You're trying to figure it out. And that really is that's the core of, nobody can, even if they gave you the scripts and they gave you everything, nobody can force that agent to go actually do something with it.
Right.
So you started collecting data, and from there, and you started to say, is this the best way to do it? Is this what I should be doing? And I think that's probably, I would guess, I don't know, but I'm guessing next step is you're taking the action. You started to kind of audit what the results were based on things that you were doing.
I appreciate the, how you perceived what I did based off of maybe how you know me now. But at the time, no, man, to be honest with you, it was just all take action. There's fail forward and there's what I did. And in theory, it was failing forward. But I believe in failing forward. It's like you go and do things, you fail, you look at it, you assess it. There really wasn't any of that for like the first couple months. It was just go, 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 go.
Yep.
Right. And one part of this game, as we know, is a numbers game, right? If you just go, go, go enough, you're going to run in the business. And I did. And I was fortunate in that nature. It wasn't until as time progressed, I had a mentor, wasn't a coach, just somebody that was like, dude, you at least show enough fortitude to let me help you. I'll give you a little bit of direction. Did I actually start assessing what was working and what wasn't?
Yep.
But, you know, the really cool part of this industry is we all chase the latest and greatest. And the reality is it's just a doer's game.
Yeah. No,
right? 100%. You can be absent of the script. You can be absent of the fancy strategy and you can still succeed.
Yeah, it really is. It's funny. It's funny you bring that up. It is full blown a numbers game at the end of the day. If you like, there's nobody that, if you get enough conversations with people, it doesn't really matter what you say. It doesn't matter how, you know, what language patterns you're using or anything like that, or even what you know about the market. You're going to find somebody that's going to say, yeah, I'll sell my house to you. 14
right.
other agents failed at this. You want an overpriced listing? Come get it. You know, and that's just the name of the game. But fortunately, I feel like through those struggles and through this whole thing, you've enhanced your skills, and with the mentor, you became the better version of yourself, so that there was more guidance behind that.
Yeah, you know, that the precipice there was. He challenged me to go get 2 listing appointments every day. And like, I wouldn't even get 1 listing appointment every day, but he forced me to look at what I needed to do and who I needed to become to go shoot for that goal. And I think what he did at the time was, hey, if I shoot him towards that goal, he'll most likely fall short and fall into 1 listing appointment a day, which is, I think, ultimately where every agent should be.
Yep.
Right. And so I really I went on this journey and I asked myself, like, what's the one thing and this was like before the One Thing book came out, but I was just asking, like, what can I do to enhance my skill set? Like, what is the skill set? And what I realized the skill set was the ability to influence people. Right. And so I just went on like this maniacal journey of trying to learn, and I read and I dug into, and I went to every speaker and NLP, and I just started putting like all these different tactics together of what others, you know, giants in the industry, giants in the sales industry were using. And the interesting part is what I came across was it wasn't a script, right? It wasn't like this script here is what makes everybody millions. It was kind of understanding the psychology of human beings and like in the game of sales, what ultimately do these people want? And if you service that, if you converse about that, you're going to win in this game. And so that's where the amount, let me get in the frame right here. That's where the amount of conversations to get the outcome went like this. Yep. And that's where I started to become effective versus, you know, just having to burn a lot of energy. Oh, you got to talk to 200 people to get that 1 appointment. So that's where I really started to learn and hone my skills. And when I learned that and I started getting the results and I was like, oh crap, this stuff works. Then I just doubled down on it. Yeah. I feel like when you're able to, actually, I feel like when you're solving problems like that too, you almost become, you're attracting people at that point too, because people can sense that you're there with a solution, or you're at least diving for a solution. You're listening to what they're saying. And when as an agent too, when you're sitting on that and you're riding that high of having people really connect with you and really like just starting to open up and you're just flowing, it makes you want to have more conversations with people. It's kind of like when I tell everybody, you don't want to go on a listing appointment because you don't know what the hell you're going to say when you go on a listing appointment. What if you had a great presentation? Or what if you knew how to have a great conversation that Chris Hart teaches on how to get a lot deeper in that conversation so you can go solve a problem? You actually don't need the workbook and the fancy presentation and everything if you are able to get into those deep conversations. 100%. You know, what I tell people is one of the biggest philosophical issues in real estate is that we tell people stick to their scripts. Yep. And the reality is, as a coach, I'm probably one of the few people out there that say, get off your scripts, because scripts are limiting. Stick to the model, the conversation model, right? That will help you create that duplicatability in every conversation, but it gives you the freedom to talk about what's important to that person. Does that make sense? We get better in frame here. What's important to that person? Like the conversation model that I teach people shows them how to navigate a conversation using tools that extract information about what that person wants, what that person is dealing with that person's problems, which are pretty generic to most sellers, buyers, investors, et cetera, that you have the answers for.
Right.
And when you start handling them, guess what? Then they look at you and they go, oh, he's listening to me. He cares about me. He's not just trying to sell me. So you become the means to their end as opposed to them becoming a means to your end. Or I got another listing, or I got another buyer. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like too, and this is something I was thinking about yesterday, is I wake up earlier than I want to because my baby likes to get me up bright and early. It's my miracle morning forced by a young child. Yeah. But during that time, I'm thinking it's like the biggest issue, what I hear come up all the time right now is we have nowhere to go. We do want to sell our home. We do want to capitalize on that, but we don't know where we'll go next because there's just no inventory out there. And I find that a lot of agents have issues generating that new inventory, whereas that's in my opinion, that's such an easy conversation, knowing that the majority of consumers, they do want this crazy high number on their property, but they don't know where they're going to go next. So what if you just opened up conversations where around, and jumping around on a script or something, for instance, but if you were to sell this home, where you go next, and actually focus on how you're going to solve that problem. Right. The next is the problem. It's not selling the home. Anybody can it's almost like, I feel like I'd be bold enough to say, like, my marketing campaign would be like, I'll teach you how to be a for sale by owner, because I'm so confident I can find that next property for you. You think like somebody would engage with that? And I know that they wouldn't end up going for sale by owner at the end of it either, because I'm solving such a problem over here for them. But like that's the issue. And so many people are like, I can get you 38 offers on your home and blah, blah, blah. It's like,
that's not the problem, right? So, I mean, look at Jay Kinder, Mike Reese, and them guys, right? Yep. Huge giants in our world in EXP. And you know why they're huge giants? Because they're digital marketers, right? One of the number one tactics in digital marketing, when you use a one-dimensional methodology of word usage, which is just on a digital screen, it's one-dimensional. How can digital marketers in a one-dimensional medium be so effective? It's because they understand the one thing. It's problem, agitate, solve. Yep. Right? So all digital marketers use that. There's like 4 or 5 that they use, but that's like the main one. If you use that kind of same construct in your conversations, and you understand that the problem is not getting them top dollar. Like, let's be real. A homeowner can go out in the marketplace and sell for top dollar. There's just no inventory, right? We average 1.7 million homes on the market throughout the United States at any given time. Right now, we're averaging 1 million. We're 700,000 homes short. So it's not a supply, or it's the supply issue allows the seller to automatically get a higher price. It's not a demand issue. We've got plenty of buyers in the marketplace. It's the real problem is the real estate community. Because if you think about it, Brett, we've got 1.56 million actively licensed realtors as per National Association of Realtors. Okay. If we are 700,000 homes deficient, and 80% of the realtors, which puts us at about 1.1 million realtors, went out and got one listing today, we'd have no inventory problem. Yep. So how you can win in this marketplace when someone goes, I want to sell, but right after the but's the problem. Where am I going to go next? You know what the easy answer is? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? See, in their head, they're looking at it going, I know where I want to go. It's not that I don't know where I want to go. It's just there's no inventory where I want to go. Right. That's where you can agitate the problem and then solve it. And if solving it is, hey, good thing I called you today. Has anybody talked to you about mine and my team's strategy of helping people just like you be able to find inventory in the market that's off-market opportunities, that's not causing you to compete with 15, 20 other people and paying $40,000 over asking price? Because Brett, here's what I know. Every buyer I've ever worked with wants one intention, to get a good deal. And that's made up of buying the right home at the right price so you can live the right life. That's what you want, right? And they say yes. And you go, great. I just got to help you find out what that right home is and where it is. Then I'll go find it in the marketplace. And because we're going to do it in an off-market opportunity, you're going to get it at the right price and not overpay.
Yep.
When do you want to meet? Today, tomorrow, Saturday? See, now they're looking at you as problem solvers.
Yep.
Right? We're not using a script. We're using a construct.
And you can't ignore that either.
You can't. You can't.
Your best friend could be a realtor. If
100%.
Somebody's actually giving me opportunities to purchase that next property with a solid marketing plan or whatever it may be, whatever they're doing to bring things off market to me, that's like very, and just so you know too, guys, like anybody who's watching, we do this and it doesn't, like, you have to show that you are making an effort. And like the average realtor too is that they're just showing things on the market. This is really all they're doing. So
right.
You could very well sell them something on market, and that's totally fine. But the consumer will really be attracted to the idea that you're at least even if it's off, even if it's like, hey, I'm talking to this seller. I just called him on your behalf. I know this isn't the right neighborhood, but it had the bedroom count and it had the lake that you were looking for in the community. Would you consider this around 650 or so if I could get it? Just that conversation, that's just like you're coming at them, making an attempt to fix a problem for them.
Let me throw something at the realtor community right now. Stop posting on social media about the home you just sold and how it sold for $30,000 over asking price. See, maybe 3 years ago, that would have been impressive. That's everybody now. What you have to go and do is go find the buyer whose home's not on the market, that you went and found them the home, and then brag about that. Yep. That's when you become valuable to people listening on social media. Right now, you're just noise. Yep. You're just noise. It's like the agent around, in a normal market around April and May, when they're like, market's hot, run out of inventory, call me. Well, why should I call you if the market's hot? Like, I'm just going to put my house on the market and just let the market do its thing. Yep. Right? Show us what you can, show the marketplace what you can do, right? Because the market knows the problem. There's no inventory, right? Don't brag about your new one listing, right? Don't brag about your new one listing. It's just one listing. It doesn't solve any problems. Yep. That thing's going to be sold in 20 hours. Go brag about and say, hey, I spoke to this person. They wanted to sell their home. They didn't know where they wanted to go next. We sat down. We did a consultation with them. We and my team and I, there's 20 of us, there's 10 of us, whatever. We all got on the phones. We circled prospect, or we called potential sellers that matched their criteria. We found them a home. We matched them up with a seller. And the best part about it is they didn't compete against 15 other people and pay extremely over asking price. See, Brett, if I knock on your door today and say, hey, I got a buyer for your house, and we're willing to pay not just market value, like we'll get an appraisal, and then we'll pay you $10,000 over asking price. Are you interested in talking to me? You're going to be interested, right? Because you don't have to go through the rigmarole. And
I'll also, like, people are COVID concerned still. Like, I know, like, wherever you are in the whole, but like the idea of an off-market quick sale kind of thing with 3 children or something, like, depending on where you are in the country, it's all completely different. But I'm in a highly, like, we're in New Jersey. We're in a very like liberal style area, and people are COVID concerned in that too. Like, if you're approaching a seller too, and you're knocking on their door and say, hey, listen, I got somebody, they got smoked. They got smoked on 6 past bidding wars, but they're offering, crazy numbers. They're pre-approved. They have no home to sell, blah, 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 blah. And they like this property, they like this neighborhood. Would you consider selling if you could just do a quick off market and not have 1 million people come through your home? You know, with a flexible closing date, so that then I can go do this for you too.
Yeah, let me touch on something there, right? You mentioned, hey, you're in Jersey, very, liberal-minded mentality there. Maybe the concern about COVID is greater than some of the other areas. I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Okay. Very much more of a conservative mindset here. And people here are still concerned about it because the reality is COVID is real. Right.
Yep.
However you want to look at it, liberal, conservative, whatever political kind of mindset you want to bring into it. The reality is it's real.
Yep.
People don't want that junk in their house.
Yep.
So you're solving another problem by bringing them one buyer. Nobody wants to, I mean, you and I have sold plenty of houses, man. Like, you know, the challenge of just putting a house on the market. People have to declutter. They have, you know, it's like, it's a pain in the butt, man.
Yep.
I'll tell you right now, I've lived in my house 2 years now. My house has appreciated over $150,000 in value. If someone knocked on my door and said, hey, I got a buyer, we're willing to pay you market value plus, you know, a market adjustment of 10,000. Are you interested? I'd be like, come on in, come on, let's talk.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're like, hey, you want to sell your house? Nah, I'm good, man. I don't feel like dealing with that.
Or, hey, I noticed you have an extra 200,000 in equity in there. If I could show you another property where you could trade up and have the same payment or something like, you know, like there's
hey, I see that you lived in your house for 2 years. You got $175,000 in tax-free money. Were you aware that that money's tax-free? Yep. IRS code 121, people look it up. Right? It allows you to sell your house if they've lived in it as primary residence 24 to the last 60 months, up to 250,000 if you're single, 500,000 if you're married, where you don't have to pay taxes on the capital gains. It's the only way in America. So if you're having these conversations, right? Like what I teach in my conversation model is, yes, we start with a script. And to understand the purpose of a script is just to grab somebody's attention. It's not to book the appointment. It's to grab their attention to where their ears go, oh, they want to know more. Or they have questions and then you're like, oh, okay. Now we're dancing. Yep. They ask a question, you respond back. You ask some questions that allow it to go a little bit deeper, and then you close. Script, dialogue. Where's my hands? Script, dialogue, conversation, close. See, a script's important, but as realtors, we need to understand what the intention of the script. It's just to get someone's attention. Hey, did you know your $175,000 can be tax-free income, and it's the only way in America that you can earn tax-free income? Did you know that? And if you're like, no, I didn't know that. Yeah, up to $500,000 because I know you're married. Would you like to know more? That's your script. Script, gets their attention. Dialogue, which is kind of question and answer, kind of like, on the surface going back and forth. That's just to draw them closer, right? Conversation allows us to go deeper to acquire information that we can use as leverage, and then we close on that. That's what realtors need to be doing out there in the marketplace, is understanding what is the true problem and go out and solve it.
Awesome. So you teach this stuff.
Yeah.
If somebody's looking to get into your world, which I don't know why if you're an agent, you're listening to this right now, and because we just nailed like the only problem, or the number one problem, I should say, in real estate sales right now, and what we're seeing. Like how do they get in touch with you? Yeah, so you can reach out to me. I'm on social media, probably the most active on Facebook, facebook.com/Christopher Hart 5. So you can friend request me, you can message me. Here's one of the things I did as a leader in the industry, right? Point out a problem, understand you got three fingers pointing back. I believe there's a problem in the industry where real estate agents aren't going out into the marketplace and doing what they're supposed to do to bring the inventory and solve problems. Well, what's the problem with that, Chris? Well, maybe they don't know exactly how to do it. How do we solve it? Every Tuesday morning, so we did it this morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do what's called a Market Motivator Script Coaching. It's free. It's on Zoom. I remove any obstacles. If you're like, oh, I can't afford it, I'm brand new. Great. It's free. I'm not going to sell you anything. I'm not going to recruit you. I'm not going to bring you to, it's not an opening to a funnel. It's 100% contributory for the simple fact that I see a problem and I'm stepping up and willing to do something about it. So you're welcome to join that. We've got a Facebook group that I continue to add value to you throughout the week, and that's called Real Estate Market Motivators Script Coaching. It's an open group. You can just join it. You don't have to request to join. It's
agnostic to, it's only for this franchise or not for that franchise. If you're a real estate agent, you're a mortgage lender, you're just somebody that's listening to this, you're welcome to play with us, man. Right? You're welcome to play with us. Start there. I promise you every Tuesday morning, you're going to get enough value to go into the marketplace. And if you decide that, hey, I want a little bit more, you can reach out to me. We can talk about my script coaching. I've trained a lot of the top teams. I've trained everything from top agents to top teams across the industry. Back in the KW days, I trained the entire Maryland, DC region leadership for recruiting. They had their best recruiting months when they went through that program. So the stuff is proven, it's valid. And the thing about it is, it's not Chrisology, meaning, what Chris did, do this. Because if it's Chrisology, the second Brett's like, well, I'm not Chris, so this won't work for me, then they back out. It's all based on the science of influence. Yep. And tools that you're provided. So, if you want to talk about that, if you want to explore that more, I'd be happy to. You can reach out to me directly. If you want to put in the comments, I'll give you my direct cell phone number and my personal email. I've got nothing to hide, just here to help agents. My ultimate intention starting in 2022 is to help as many agents be able to book one appointment a day in as little as 1 hour of prospecting, because it can happen for you.
I like that. It's funny. My buddies, I think Steve Rosado too. We were just shooting a podcast, a video vlog, whatever you want to call it, and that was the topic. It's like the idea is we're getting away from the gritty grind 70 hours a week, and we're getting more into using your time more efficiently, more like the 4-hour work week. So what if you could work 4 hours a week as a realtor, set 4 appointments, sell 2 homes a week, and you're selling 104 properties a year? It wouldn't be too bad, right?
You are a legend. You're a legend.
Yeah.
Right. So what I want to tell you guys is the mindset of prospecting 3 hours a day. Get it gone out of your head. Like, seriously, you're a fool if you're playing that game, but you're playing the game because you don't have the skills to make the results easier. And I literally, like, my coaching program goes for 90 days. We're actually putting it into a recording product to be able to, sell to agents at a really low cost, just to be able to get it in the hands of more agents. And I can literally teach you in 30 days how to book one appointment a day in as little as 1 hour prospecting. And if you don't believe me, challenge me. I'll put $1,000 of my money up. You just have to say, hey, I'm in. That's it. And if you don't learn after 30 days how you can book that one appointment, now there'll be some stipulations. You actually have to prospect. You got to track your numbers. You got to do the right thing. Hold your end of the bargain. And if you don't do it, I'll pay you $1,000.
I love it. And this is a good time of year too, because this is where people need to 2022. Oh, maybe I'll do it 2023. Like, I feel like, guys, just so you know, Chris and I, we've played around with each other quite a bit. We've coached agents together. We've been in a lot of masterminds together. He's the real deal, guys. Like, definitely tune in, plug in. Chris, when we hop off, I would say throw those. I'll tag you on Facebook, and then just throw those links into the comment. I would definitely next Tuesday make sure you're there, plug into that, and just start watching what he's talking about. It is no joke. It is next level, and it's simple. Not simple, but it'll be here. Like, this is going to help you regardless of what happens. Even if you're a massive marketing based team, whatever it may be, you can slice through it, get to deeper conversations with people, and just have better relationships and actually fix problems out there.
Yeah. And what I'll say, Brett, is I know you guys got a lot of resources in your world with Sekou and, what you guys are doing on that. And he's super talented. And there's still people on your team and in your world that are on that Tuesday morning call every single week.
Yep.
Every single week. So I don't know what that means, but people in your world are jumping in on it because they see value. So
100%.
Again, I just want to leave everybody with that. This industry is not hard. Okay. You can make it hard, but that's your choice. If you want to make it easy, we have resources available to you. You just got to be in the right environment. You got to be willing to say, hey, at minimum, I'll give up an hour of my morning every Tuesday morning to go learn. But the thing is, you actually have to go practically apply. You have to go practically apply. And so if you don't go and do that, then you will be stuck in the realm of, I got to make 3 hours worth of calls, 200 people, one appointment. And that's rough.
My mic drop on this, because I got to close it out. And I learned this from you and you just reminded me. We have the resources. It's up to you to be resourceful. And I feel like that is like that, dude, that's huge. It's like plug away. And it goes back to what I was talking about in the beginning. Take action. And this is your first step right here. So go plug into Chris's stuff and put some action behind it and work less, work smarter, help more people.
Right on, man. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Awesome. Later, brother.